Hello everyone, good morning and good afternoon and good evening wherever you are. Welcome to Live It Up, the show where we explore and discuss how to take your life to that next level and beyond. We cover health, wealth, relationships, and how to create a life that feels good, because after all, that's what we all want. We want to feel good. I'm your host and coach, Fletcher Ellingson. Today on the show, we're going to be visiting with Marissa Collins, the Executive Director of the Wellness Place here in Wenatchee. Their mission is to provide compassionate support and free resources to individuals, their families, and caregivers throughout their cancer journey from diagnosis to survivorship. Cancer is something that has touched just about every person's life directly or indirectly. It can be scary, confusing, depressing, and what I love about this organization is that they're focused on supporting and empowering. So I'm looking forward to this conversation. But before we get to that, I do want to remind you that if you have questions you would like me to answer on or off of the air, email those directly to me at fletcher@fletcherellingson.com. And if we use your question on the show, I'm going to send you a complimentary copy of my Amazon best-selling book called The Practice of Feeling Good. If you've been following the show and want to learn more about personal development and how to take your life to that next level, or how to take it on more powerfully, then grab a copy of this book. You can also visit me at my website, fletcherellingson.com. Now, before we get to the interview, I want to take just a moment to acknowledge that there is a lot of uncertainty in our world. There are wars and protests, accusations, trials, inflation, division. There's a lot of uncertainty. And that level of uncertainty can set people on edge. It can bring out behaviors that typically don't serve the greater good. And so I want to take a moment to remind all of us that we can be a part of the solution. And the fastest and easiest way to do that is to be kind. You see, kindness is powerful. And the way I define kindness is friendliness, generosity, consideration, and the willingness to offer assistance without the need for praise or acknowledgement. It's a beautiful thing. Kindness highlights people's strengths instead of reminding them of their weaknesses. Kindness unites people instead of dividing people. It heals and fosters well-being instead of injuring. And let's face it, it feels good to give it, to receive it, and to be around it. So I invite you to consider kindness. We're going to take a short commercial break, and then we're going to be right back to visit with Marissa Collins. Stay with us. Hey everybody, welcome back to Live It Up. So glad you're here. So glad that you're in this conversation. Today, we're talking with Marissa Collins. Good morning.
Good morning.
Nice to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you bet. Hey, we're going to be talking about the Wellness Center, obviously.
Yes.
But before we dive into that, we always start off with a win, something that's going well for you professionally or personally. So what have you got?
Well, I would say I'm having a big win year, humbly.
I like that.
Yes, but I just started this position at the Wellness Place in March. This is a big win for me. I'm really happy to be there.
Right on.
And personally, right before I started the job, finally went on my honeymoon with my husband.
Oh, right.
And that's a big deal because we just celebrated our 5-year anniversary in July.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so it's very exciting for us.
So 5 years in, you're like, let's take a honeymoon.
Doesn't that what everybody does? Yeah, right?
Wow, you guys must have been like really busy around the time you guys got married then.
We were,
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so that's a fun win. And what did you go somewhere?
Yeah, we went to Hawaii. We ended up getting COVID, but we still had a great time.
Okay, so it wasn't a severe case of it?
No, we were great. We were okay.
Good,
yeah, we just had to, quarantine on the beach.
Yeah.
Worst places to do that.
Yeah, really. And which island did you go to?
We went to Maui.
Nice.
Yeah,
that's
first time.
One of my favorite places on the planet.
I can understand why.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Well, good for you. Good for you. Well, hey, we're going to talk about the Wellness Center. Now, some of those people out here, they may not know what the Wellness Center is. So
yeah.
Give us the lowdown. What is the Wellness Center? What do they do?
Yeah, sure thing. I will. Again, forewarning, just started in March, so I've learned a lot since I've been here. I'll attempt to reiterate it as accurately as possible.
Okay.
So forgive me if I miss some details. So the Wellness Place started just over 20 years ago as the NCW Rural Health Foundation. It was started by Dr. Carl Kobeck, who was a longtime oncologist here in the Valley, very beloved. And they did a lot of different services. They partnered with the Good Grief Center to do a lot of different support groups for the Valley. They did several different classes, like the well-known SAIL classes, which are still thriving, just not through us. And the Wellness Place served a large group of people. And that's, I think, why they changed their name to Wellness Place at some point in time. But more recent years, they decided, you know, we're helping all these people, we really need to hone in on what we're doing. And so they decided they were going to focus just on people going through cancer. And that's a cause that's so near and dear to Carl's heart because he himself was diagnosed with cancer. And even as an oncologist, he felt that that experience was very lonely and isolating, overwhelming, and he wanted to provide something for the community, for other people who were going through this. And so that's where they really focused their services. And so right now, we are continuing these cancer resources for folks. We do gas cards for people to get to appointments that are totally free to them. We give protein shakes that are plant-based so that if they have trouble eating during treatment, they can have that for free. We have head coverings, hats when they're losing hair, wigs so they can get wigs when they've lost their hair or losing their hair. We also have care kits. So if somebody is newly diagnosed or a new client of ours, we send them this care kit in the mail or give it to them, and it is actual good, healthy things for them to use during treatment from people who have experienced through treatment. So real, actual, applicable items. And we have support groups. We have mindfulness-based stress reduction classes to give new tools in order to manage that cancer stress. And that's just a few things that we're doing right now. And I'm really excited because our board is currently going through a needs assessment because we want to grow our services and we want to identify what people need. And we are serving 4 counties, so we serve quite a large range.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, Chelan, Douglas, Grant, and Okanagan County are our service areas. So anybody residing in those areas are welcome to our services, and that's
that is a lot. That's a lot of stuff that you guys are helping with. Why is this work important to you?
Well, that answer I actually know very well. So we mentioned 5 years ago, we were busy in my life because 5 years ago in 2019, I was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer.
Okay.
Yeah, it was totally unexpected. There's no history of it in my family. I've even had genetic testing, and right now they have no genetic link that they can find.
Wow.
So totally unpredicted. I was newly married, just started a new job, and it changed the entire trajectory of my life. And I was so blessed because I had a community that embraced me and supported me and loved me. And I feel very lucky, but it also feels a little guilty and shameful to say I felt very alone. You know, I was supposed to be going on my honeymoon, and instead I was starting chemotherapy. I was spending the night in hospital because I was trying to bring down a fever and save my life, right? My friends were all having babies, and I was starting menopause and losing my ability to have a biological family. So it was very lonely, even though I was surrounded by love, because I don't think a lot of people knew what that felt like at 31.
Right.
And so the Wellness Place was such a great resource for me. I was able to get a hat when I was losing my hair, so I didn't have to wake up in the morning with hair all over my pillow. I got a wig because I was at a new job, and I could wear a wig and feel like I didn't have cancer. I got a gas card because I was going to appointments in Seattle for reconstruction. But most importantly, I partook in the support groups, and I got to meet people that were going through what I was going through. And that was so impactful because I was able to share everything that I was feeling, from fears to anger to sadness. And they all knew what I was feeling. And I just felt seen and heard. And I found a community that really got me. And then the pandemic hit in the middle of that.
Oh my gosh.
And add this isolating experience to the pandemic, we leaned on each other hard, and I don't know if I could have gotten through it in the same way without them. So I know what these resources, how important they are for people like me, people like my husband, who was my caregiver at that time, how much we need these resources. Even though I was, again, super blessed, I felt like there was a lot that I had that I didn't necessarily need, the same way that the patients that we're working with currently, they have a lot more needs than even I had. So I know how important that is, and I really want to see the Wellness Place do more and succeed, and I think that our board really wants that too. Our cancer community really wants that. So I'm really excited to see where it goes and see how much good we can do as we grow.
You know, hearing your story, it just leaves me thinking, wow, a person just never knows what might happen in this life. I mean, just unexpected, like you said, like no history of this, and then you're navigating that entire journey. Oh my goodness, it's mind-boggling. What I heard you say, though, that's so important is that, you can have people around, you can feel supported, and still you can feel like this intense loneliness. And what a blessing to have those support groups, right? Because you want people that can relate. That's so critical, and that's what you found in that. It sounds like.
Yes. Absolutely.
Wow. Well, I get why this is important to you. Yeah. What an opportunity now to be so intimately involved with this organization and help steer it and help, help it thrive and even reach and impact more people, right?
Yeah, that's the hope.
Yeah. What an opportunity. Wow. Well, let's take a break here. This is such a great conversation. I hope you're enjoying it as well. And we're going to talk more about the Wellness Place. And because chances are, you know somebody who's going through this, maybe even you're going through it, and they've got an abundance of resources to help you. So stick around. Hey everybody, welcome back to Live It Up. I'm so glad you're here. We're having a really great conversation with Marissa Collins from the Wellness Place. She was just sharing a bit of her story, which is very inspiring. And so let's get back to some more questions. What's the impact that you see on the clients of the Wellness Place, people who are coming to make use of the supports, the different various supports that you're offering?
Yeah, well, so it's probably seems like a $50 gas card. You know, what kind of extent could that reach? And I would say it's huge. Every little thing that we do makes such a huge impact on somebody that's going through cancer. I mean, we're dealing with a population that is very vulnerable. They don't know how to ask for help. A lot of them don't want to because they're taking care of a lot of people themselves. So it takes a great deal for them to come in and say, I don't know what I need, but I need help. And so every little thing that we can give them really takes them through that journey.
Yeah.
So, for instance, our gas cards, I mentioned earlier. We are working with 4 different counties, and some people are coming from very rural locations.
Yeah.
If you go through radiation, it's usually every single day. So 5 days a week, you're driving in to have your appointment either in Wenatchee or Moses Lake. And that is a lot of driving, even if you're coming from Lake Chelan, but think about Okanagan County.
Yeah.
that's a lot of driving, and if we can give them a gas card to offset that financial strain, it goes a long distance. And for some of them, it is what gets them to their appointments. We have, it's not very common, but we have at occasion, when the radiation department with a machine breaks down here for the day, they can push their clients over to Moses Lake. But we've had to run up to the hospital to get gas cards to those patients so that they can get there to get their life-saving treatment. That's what a gas card can do.
Yeah.
We also have these, protein shakes, and they're plant-based. They're very nutritional. If your mouth is full of sores, or things taste like aluminum, or you just don't feel like eating anything, this can be the life-saving nutrients you need to get through treatment, because your body needs nutrients in order to heal through that chemotherapy or that radiation and get to that next step. And so we offer that both in flavors and unflavored. So if you just don't even want to eat anything, but you just have to, because sometimes that happens, that's there for people. And some people come to us and they're like, there's nothing that we're eating that tastes good. My husband won't eat anything. My wife won't eat anything. And this is the thing that they will eat to get them through treatment. Our head coverings, like I mentioned earlier, it's traumatic to lose your hair, especially for a lot of women that we work with. It's that thing about chemotherapy that is just petrifying to them. When you wake up and your hair is all over your pillow or in the shower drain, it's traumatic. It can be. Not for everybody, but it can be. And not everybody loses their hair. But for those that do, they don't want to look sick. They don't want to stand out. They want to feel normal. And they can come in and they can get a private wig fitting. They can get a wig that matches their former hair, or something that they've always wanted to try, have some fun with it, give that confidence back in their life for a moment even. And they just walk out feeling like they have that resource to get them to the next step. It's all about those little celebrations when you're going through treatment.
And I like what you said earlier. You said sometimes people, number one, we're not practiced at asking for help, right? So it feels very vulnerable, like you said, and they may not even know what they need. So scary and beautiful that there's a place that people can just go and say, like, what do I need? What should I be asking? Yeah. That's a big deal.
And that's why I feel like this is a good place for me to be, because oftentimes, like we have port pillows and chest pillows and heart pillows, and a lot of people don't know what those are. You probably don't know as I'm talking about it, right? But I will oftentimes walk the clients through, like, these chest pillows are really great if you are having a bilateral mastectomy or any sort of mastectomy like I did, and they really provide that extra pillow. So like the port pillows also go over a port where you normally get infusions. And what you maybe don't know is that when you drive in a car, the seat belt is so irritating for whatever may be going on right here. So these pillows provide comfort. So that's oftentimes what I explain to some of these people that are going into surgery or coming out of it, just as a little bit of a reprieve. And they won't know. And the heart pillows, you may have drains coming out of who knows where, and they're just so uncomfortable. And these little pillows they bring just a little bit of comfort for that moment. So, I feel like because these are services that are presented by people or put together by people who've gone through it, we can help educate and say, you know what, I know that you're probably feeling nauseous, but have you tried these ginger chews or this licorice tea that can really help settle your stomach? And you should talk to your oncologist, because we don't give medical advice, but we always say, talk to your oncologist about this thing, or tell them that you're experiencing this. They're there to help you. So we do have a little bit of information to be able to help those folks. And I think for a moment to be seen and understood at a different level, I think that that's what really the impact is. We're there for them. Whatever they need. Even if they just need to talk.
And you're helping advocate for their well-being, which feels really good, right, to have somebody on your side. Yeah. Everything that you're talking about here costs money, right? Talk to us about how this the Wellness Place is funded.
Yeah, well, the Wellness Place has been primarily funded by an event that they've done every year. It used to be a gala. The last few years it's been Wine, Women, and Shoes. And so I would say about 80% of our funding is donors and sponsors.
Got it.
We do have some grant funding from the Community Foundation, but we haven't had a lot of that. So yeah, it's really community funded. We also have some in-kind donors, like Dilly Deli will provide lunches for our support groups. Class with a Glass will provide the location, and they do that in kind, so that helps offset our costs a lot too.
And what are some of the ongoing needs, whether it's financial and or like physical donations? What are some of those if somebody wanted to get involved?
Yeah, well, we have regular donations, obviously, and that's really important because we are trying to diversify our funding going forward. So we haven't done a lot of calls for donations outside of our events. So if somebody would like to donate, we do have a donate page on our site of different ways that you can donate to the Wellness Place. But we also do have a lot of in-kind needs. So for instance, Seeds Learning Center is on October. They are going to be putting together some wig kits for us. So whenever anybody gets a wig, we send them home with wig shampoo, conditioner, hairspray, care instructions, a brush, things that they can use to lengthen the longevity of their wig. And Seeds is going to be donating the items and putting those kits together. The kids are going to be filling up the conditioner and the shampoo bottles for us. And we have, lots of different types of inventory items that people can donate if they'd like to donate specific items to our care kits. We also get people who hand make quilts for us. They hand make port pillows and hats for us, and we hand all of it out. We also take now, recently, we've started taking gently used wigs, so we can refurbish them and also pass those on to our patients as well. So we can accept some used items, used pillows and pockets and those kinds of things that people may have used sometimes people don't use them hardly at all. And so it feels like such a waste to not be able to
repurpose them,
pass them on. So we can take those items. We do just ask that if they could be dry cleaned, that would be great, because we do need to make sure they're clean before we pass them on to our patients.
Got it. If somebody is moved by this today, how can they get in touch with you? What's your, tell them what your website is or how to get in touch with you.
Yeah, we are at wellnessplacewenatchee.org. I am at, you could also email info@wellnessplace.org, wellnessplacewenatchee.org, excuse me, or 509-888-9933. We're located really close to the hospital right now. We are in the Pacific Professional Building. So we're just a couple buildings over from Garlini's and Taste Buds in a big office building that we share with like the Apple Socks and Decamp Toughness Chiropractic.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Marissa, thank you so much for being on the show today, sharing this important information, and thank you for being a source of kindness and contribution to our community.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, you bet. All right, and now it's time for you to get out there, be a source of kindness, be a source of contribution. You do have something to offer this world, and I believe in you.